a regular listener of this program, one, I appreciate that, and two, you'll know that I don't really spend a whole lot of time on nonsensical, hypothetical, theoretical speculation. But this TJ Watt stuff, I'm sorry. I get to spend, just give me one segment of one show, all right? Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots on the other two teams in town that I cover, the Penguins and the Pirates. Hope you'll check those out as well. No, there's nothing new on the TJ Talks because there aren't TJ Talks because there aren't any talks because nobody in football is doing anything right now that involves football. It just happens to be that time of year. A handful of days or so before training camp in Latrobe, there will be some fresh connections made, fresh outreaches made, and there still won't be anything done for the start of camp, which won't matter at all. Because at some point during camp, maybe even late in camp, TJ is going to sign. Why? Because TJ is a Steeler. The Steelers, in turn, are going to sign TJ. Why? Because they're the Steelers. I've been not just downplaying this, I've been outright dismissing it as a significant news story pretty much the entire summer. Mostly because I'm not new here and I've seen how these things have played out with others. For every Le'Veon Bell, who had a really bad agent, by the way, there's 100 of these. So that's not why I would bring this up. Rather, I would bring it up because there are people who purport to be fans of this franchise who've undoubtedly invested some of themselves over the years emotionally into this franchise, who know what it's about, who know why it's been as consistently competitive as it's been, and most important, who know of the tradition of trying to recognize, to honor those who've been truly great in the uniform. Now, there are those who make fun of it. There are those who turn their nose up at it in other ways, and I'm going to just state right out that those are people who just don't care about the Steelers or who or what they are. And you know precisely the type I'm talking about. Same ones who make fun of renegade and call all Steelers fans yinzers, as if that's somehow a derogatory term. The same ones who knock the Steelers just because they are who and what they are in our city and have been for a long time. But there's also another group, and this is the one I'm really going at today, because this is what I see, hear, and read, principally on social media, is that there are some who just want to come across as if they're more intellectual than you are because they're thinking of the possible gains, and it's time for the Steelers to do different things. And if you trade TJ now, you'll get this or that, or TJ's not worth anything because he gets double teamed and the officials won't call the holding anyway, and he refuses to line up in other spots on the line of scrimmage. And imagine all of the various Terry McLaurins that they could get if they put him out there on the open market, and all kinds of other stuff that's just, you want to know what it is? Can I be cold here? Like really cold? It's just out of touch. I'm sorry, but you're not in that stadium. There's no chance you're in that stadium. There is a really good chance you've never been in that stadium. Not the road stadiums, the big yellow one. The one right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The one that feels the energy of TJ's splash plays. The one that feels like he's kicking toward them when he does that celebration. You're not that. If you're saying trade TJ, and if you're saying it with a straight face, never mind getting all animated about it, you're not that. You're not there. You're not feeling that. I've talked a lot over the years, and to the considerable consternation of some, about the difference between reality, real life, and what happens online. Now, I happen to live an existence that requires a little bit of both. And I'm sure others do too, but for the most part, it really is one or the other. And the ones who just live online and are all about impressing or trying to impress everybody else online, they're the ones who say stuff like this. But then, come mid-September, And Acrisure Stadium's packed. Home opener against the Seahawks. And I was about to give an example where TJ goes and sacks Seattle's quarterback. I don't even know who they're using now with Geno Smith gone. But it doesn't matter. Whoever he gets, whenever he gets him, the place is going to go berserk. Why? Because there's a connection. There's a connection between that player and that team. And there's a connection between that team and our city. And rare but beautiful is when the middle part doesn't even need to apply. When there can be a connection between that player and this city. That's TJ. That's TJ. You could go through that stadium, strap lie-detecting electrodes to everybody's temples and ask them if they ever thought it would be a good idea to trade TJ. Meaning this year, if that was ever a thing that they took seriously. Your test results are going to be something in the range of 99-1. And I don't even want to know who they let in to be the one. TJ belongs in Pittsburgh. If you want to find out why, if you already don't know why, feel free to enlist a travel agent for assistance in how to get here and check him out in his natural habitat. When we come back, J1Q. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Francisco Roman, who says, DK, could it be that Aaron Rodgers sees the Steelers as a serious and professional franchise that gives him an opportunity to go out in style, as a winner? Now, I could get cynical here on you and say, well, listen, there weren't very many teams banging down Rodgers' door for his services this offseason. And if his miserable previous employer didn't want him, then why would anybody else? But I'm not going to do that in large part because I really don't think it's accurate. What happens is there's more of a musical chairs to quarterbacks in the NFL. Everybody gets one, or most everybody gets one. There are only 3 or 4 teams that go looking for one. And of the 2 or 3 that ended up being legitimately connected to Rodgers, the only one that sounds like it really just flat out turned him down was the Vikings. And even that we can't know because every accounting out of Minneapolis strongly suggests that they've just made up their mind. They're going to go with J.J. McCarthy and see where it leads. And you can't do that with Rodgers in the house. So what I'm going to do instead here, Francisco, with your question, is just kind of swing back and try to connect it to what I brought up in the opening segment today. Could it be that Rodgers sees the Steelers as a serious and professional franchise? Well, yeah. You know why? Because everybody does. And part of the reason for that is because they are so predictable. Do they need to amend some of their ways? Yes. Do they need to adjust to the times a little bit more? Yes. Would they have been better off, in my estimation, doing that with a new head coach this season? Also, yes. But is there value in sustaining being the Steelers and at least trying to cling to some of those principles that have brought all of those Super Bowl trophies? Part of that is treating special players, special people, a little bit differently. Treating them accordingly. You can't do it to your detriment. You can't keep guys around forever and ever and ever if they can't play anymore. But that's far from what we're talking about with TJ Watt. We're talking about a guy who remains a significant impact player, who, by the way, not only can, but will, from what I understand, move around the line of scrimmage and do different things to make it more difficult for opposing offenses to shut him down, or for officials to dictate the way his day goes. Maybe you can hold him on the one side, but you're not going to hold him all the way across the line of scrimmage, are you? What he wants is to make plays. He doesn't need to make them just from the left side. And I'll say it again to close out this week of shows here. The offer stands to those of you who like the Steelers only to the extent that you would feel comfortable advocating for TJ to get traded. Come see us. Come to Pittsburgh. Come downtown. Check out the Duquesne Incline. Tour the stadium. See a ball game. Heck, you can come visit us at 224 Fifth Avenue. That's where our headquarters /shop/studio is. Introduce yourself as someone who'd want to trade TJ. You'll be welcomed with open arms. This guy's a Steeler. He's going to stay a Steeler. And that's going to make only just about everybody around here really, really, really happy. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Steelers. Make sure you check out Double Shot of Steelers, the live video that we do on YouTube every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.